All right, guys. Good morning. Welcome to day 2. Pretty interesting move here so far. We have the NASDAQ randomly turning green. Just a lot of dip buying going on, but we sort of know why. We're hitting some really important support areas here on the NASDAQ. A lot of tech stocks bouncing this morning. Maybe we get some type of bounce, but we always have to remember that there could be, it could just be a massive dead cat bounce, which is something we saw 2 days ago on, what was that, on Tuesday. So if we look into the NASDAQ, we see that one candle here, that is on Tuesday. I'll zoom in. This candle right here, it looked pretty positive. We bounced off that 100-day moving average, but then just sort of, had a big dead cat bounce. So that's one thing that I am watching today is this a dead cat bounce, or do we actually find some real support? So that is one thing. I'm going to wait a few minutes to get into everything, see if some more people will join here. But if we go to the 1 minute today on the NASDAQ futures, we can see that really big bounce right around 7:18 a.m. So just a big bounce. I think there are some numbers coming out. Let's go over to the to CNBC, and we can see stuff to watch before the market open on Thursday, right? So I always like to look at this before market open, see what's coming out. So first, they say Dow is extending sell-off with futures again. It is down right now. We are getting a pullback on the Dow, and we're up on the NASDAQ. So on the left side here, this is my watch list. A lot of people ask. I watch this every single day. So right now, I can just sort of symbol this from futures up top, and this is alphabetical order. This might be hard to see. I'm sorry if it is. I can maybe detach this, maybe make this bigger for you. I don't know if I can zoom in into a watch list. I don't think so. So it is a little small, I know, but so these are my futures contracts up top here. So I have the SPY, the NASDAQ, and then I have the Dow right here on top. So we can see the Dow's down right now, 79 points. We have the NASDAQ up 60, and we have the SPY up 2 points. So obviously you have to sort of look at percentages, and percentages are right here on the right side. So NASDAQ is up the largest. So 0.5% on the NASDAQ, and the Dow is slightly down. This makes sense. NASDAQ has been hit the hardest. So I think when we start to see some bullishness come back, NASDAQ will naturally increase more than the Dow. It's just sort of the way that these things bounce. More volatility in the NASDAQ, and because it's sold off much more, we should start to see, if we get some bullishness, some nice bounces here on the NASDAQ. Of course, this could always be a dead cat bounce today, so you have to be careful of that. So here's my watch list. Those are the futures contracts up there, and I just sort of look through these stocks. Not all of them every day, but a good amount that I sort of have set in my mind. So NASDAQ, first thing, definitely important. So let's go ahead and just start this off. So daily chart, we can see in the past we had a lot of consolidation here around this 12,600 to 12,800, even up to around 13.3. So this whole area here, we can sort of put a range. I want to call it right around there. So you can see there's a lot of demand in this area. Mute that. So a lot of demand in this area. I know it's a big area, but it's definitely an area to watch to see how we perform when we drop back down into it. So right there, a lot of consolidation. We have some previous support levels right here. You can see right there, a little bit of a double bottom, and now we are somewhat in this demand zone. So do we find support here and move higher, or do we have to fall back down until this level around 12,700? Definitely going to be watching this 12,700 for a potential bounce. I think that if we find a dead cat bounce today, I think we need to find support here at 12.7. If we don't find support at 12.7, we're definitely heading back down to around these previous lows. So we have this previous resistance right here, previous resistance back here, and then it turns into support back in March. If we don't find support here at 12.7, I could definitely see us moving back down into this 12.2 area. Moving back down to that 12.2 area, it really kills the uptrend here on the NASDAQ, and would not really be a great thing to see, because you are no longer making higher lows, right? So if you get here, you no longer are making higher lows. There is no longer an uptrend on the NASDAQ, right? So there's your uptrend on the NASDAQ. You want to have an uptrend continue to hold strong. You don't want to see this little bit of a topping pattern here on the NASDAQ. I don't want to see that, especially if you're bullish. If you're bearish, maybe you do. But if you want to continue to see an uptrend, that's not the best thing to see. And you can see, which is pretty interesting, we just drew that uptrend. If we delete all these lines, we are right perfectly on that uptrend right there. That is pretty interesting to see. So as of right now, we are bouncing off that uptrend on the daily chart on the NASDAQ. So let's see if we hold here today. We have a nice bounce. What's interesting, which we talked about yesterday in the Discord chat, a lot of QQQ calls were coming into the flow algo. And it looks like they were obviously right here. It looks like we're getting that bounce. So if we go to flow algo here on the screen, we can go to historical flow. And then we will go over to QQQ. So we had, yesterday we had a one QQQ, $424,000 call. I thought there was more. Maybe I'm looking at, about SPY. So some SPY, $2.2 million call coming through on SPY. And let's go to, we can go to the snapshot of yesterday and sort of look at this. So here's yesterday's snapshot on the market. So we had a big orders come through for Facebook. So almost $12 million in Facebook call options coming through yesterday, which we found pretty interesting in the Discord. We were seeing this as it was occurring. Some people actually took that trade and made some money, I think, temporarily. It did start to fall over. So one thing that Flow Algo is not so great about is you have to make sure to have your own exit plan. This does not show you an exit plan. This just shows you what really big orders are coming through the market. Maybe they know something. Maybe they can help influence the stock. Other people may see this. So it's good to know what big orders are coming through. We've been testing it in the Discord chat. It seems like it's hit or miss. Some of the big ones seem to work out, but we're going to continue to test it in the chat and make sure that this is something that we can rely on. But Facebook, really big coming through. 11 orders for $12 million. We did have a lot of SPY puts yesterday, IWM puts. We had a lot of Apple and Tesla puts, but Tesla was sort of split even. Uber was one that came in right at close, which was pretty interesting. I'm actually going to go ahead and take a look at how is Uber performing this morning. So we're up about a few points on Uber. You can see a little bit of a move just because of that tech move. But Uber, definitely, we're going to see how that performs with that big order that came through right at close. And then SOXS was an order that was coming through all Tuesday and Wednesday, and it did really well yesterday. So that was interesting to see. But that's just a little thing about Flow Algo. Pretty cool. If you guys want to join Flow Algo, there's going to be a link down in the description. It's like $25 for a free trial, or $25 for a trial. You can check it out. It's pretty interesting. It's sort of just fun to watch here during the day. You can see some big stuff coming through. So you feel free to check that out. But anyways, let's get back into some things about what to watch today. So today we have another inflation report on deck. We have the producer prices index. So that comes out at 8:30. So I'll stay on for that today again to see how that affects the market. I don't think this will be as heavy as inflation data to affect the market, but we'll definitely have to see how that does. So that's one thing. Some interesting news yesterday about Elon Musk. Personally, if I could put my own spin on it, I think it's a little bit of BS from Elon. There's a lot of people that I've been reading that saying how cryptocurrency really does not take that much, does not really affect the market or the environment much. It's actually a pretty clean way of producing of the energy. So I don't know if Elon thinks that Bitcoin is going to be maybe falling or a bull run is maybe ending and no longer wants to accept cryptocurrency. I'd like to know what you guys think. I'm actually sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. There you go. So Disney, yeah, I'll look at Disney. But let me know what you think about this Elon news not accepting Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin drops, naturally he'd be accepting. I mean, maybe they would have changed the amount of Bitcoin you would need to buy it. But if Bitcoin drops, obviously it's worth less. So if he's holding a bunch of Bitcoin, or if he's been accepting Bitcoin for his cars, naturally over time he's going to be actually losing money on those cars, which is interesting. It's sort of the problem with accepting a very volatile currency for a product that you may be selling. So that's interesting. We definitely saw a sell-off on Bitcoin because of this. I think I can actually go to the Bitcoin futures here on, yeah, so Bitcoin July futures, we can actually go to those here on Thinkorswim, and I'm pretty sure we saw a pretty nasty sell-off there. Yeah, so right there, I think that was around when the news came out, and we dropped a big, large news. That there was news that Elon knew that Bitcoin would be regulated. Okay, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. I guess we'll just keep an eye on how that affects. It's definitely affecting cryptocurrencies right now. So we'll see. That's number 3. Pipeline starts working. So I don't know if you guys remember from the live yesterday, I was saying how it was very strange that oil futures were up about 1.5% in the morning, and ExxonMobil was down. I was very surprised to see that. And lo and behold, what happens? Exxon pumps straight out of the gates yesterday and moves all the way back up to match these oil futures. So that was a great trade. If you were listening on the live stream yesterday, we were saying how it was very interesting that oil futures were up, and this was ExxonMobil in the pre-market. It gapped down in the pre-market while oil futures gapped up. And what happened right at open? We spiked up. We did hit some resistance here, some previous resistance, right around Tuesday's open, around 61.50, and then we sort of sold off. And now this pipeline reopening, I think, will continue to fade oil futures and ExxonMobil because I think it was just a lot of hype that I didn't believe in. They're already restoring it. God, I don't even want to start with the people that you see in Florida doing some crazy stuff at the gas station. Like, I saw a video of some lady filling up plastic bags, and obviously she has no idea that the gasoline would eat through the bag in a matter of minutes, and it was just pouring everywhere. So very, very stupid stuff going on in Florida today. But you can see oil futures faded all yesterday, and I would expect ExxonMobil to fade as well today. So that's one thing to keep an eye out for. Next, SoftBank's son says he expects even more massive returns after blowout earnings. So I guess we'll see what SoftBank does. I'm not really too concerned about that. So that's a little overview for this morning. We have those producer prices index that comes out at 8:30 that we need to be aware of. So let's keep an eye out on that. Let's see if there's anything else. You can trade I don't. Depends on your trading style. If you're trying to scalp, I've had a lot of troubles with TD, and I don't like it. So that's why I've moved away from that. So let's see if anything else sort of pops up here. Obviously, we know Dogecoin dropping 15%. That was because the creator of Ethereum sold all of his dog-like coins, everything that was gifted to him. What a life that must be, that all these people that create these meme coins just gift him like billions of coins for probably helping them. So he obviously sold off a lot of it, and now he's making a lot of money, and all those coins are dropping. So I was not really surprised there. McDonald's raises hourly wages. Walmart acquires virtual fitting room company. Interesting. Okay, Alibaba earnings. We'll go ahead and look at the charts on Alibaba. And so today we're going to go ahead and look at Facebook. Facebook, because of those big orders that came through. We're going to look at Disney. We're going to look at Baba for earnings. Let me see if you guys said anything. I'll look at Square as well. Square did bounce yesterday. It's bouncing today off of that support, that demand zone that we talked about. I'm going to look at Penn National because it's actually wrecked. Penn has been wrecked over the last few months, which is wild. It's actually one of the stocks that I own and was really doing really well on, and the last few months have been really tough for Penn National. So I'm going to look at that. I'll show you that, a very interesting area on the chart, and then I'm going to look at Roblox. Roblox has been really hot over the last few days, and we're hitting almost right up to those IPO highs, and I think this should be one to watch. So NASDAQ, we looked over that. let's go over the Dow real quick. Dow, pretty interesting. I mean, it's got really pulled back here, the Dow. So we were, yeah, IWM was, a lot of puts came in. So now that you say that, I'll show you real quick. Oh, that's me looking at Xboxes. So where is my, did I close it? I think I might have closed it. 1 second. So, flow algo. So here's flow algo. So there was a lot of IWM puts that came in yesterday. So right here, see these right at 4:06 p.m. So after hours, we had an IWM, two IWM sweeps come through for $8.3 million put options. 6/18, so June 18th, 202 strike puts. So that's interesting. We'll see how those perform. So that, yeah, now that you say IWM, that's why I bring that up. But anyways, let's stay on track here. So Dow, big pullback here on the Dow. Last 2 days, almost, what is that? Let's see. Almost 4% on the Dow. So really big pullback on the Dow. Back to the 50-day moving average. So very important area here. 50-day moving average. We have that 50-day pullback. We've found support there in the past. 1, 2, 3. Back here gets a little choppy, but 3 times that we've pulled back to the 50, we have found support here on the Dow. So that should be interesting. Does the Dow find support today, or does it fall through that 50-day? We have the 100, the 200 moving average, a little bit lower for us as well. So Dow, important level at that 50-day. SPY also at a very, very similar point. So pretty interesting to see. Let me take off this open interest for you. So SPY pulling back, breaking this 4100 support, so that's invalidated. We still have this demand zone down here at 3960, so that's level to watch. 3960 demand zone. But right now we are bouncing off that 50-day moving average. Now correction, bearish market is considered 20%. So I wouldn't call that a correction. This is just a pretty quick drop, you know. I mean, it looks nasty, but it's 4%. I mean, you could have had a 4% drop, you know, just sort of gradually, and no one would have been concerned about it. So what is this drop? That's 5.5%. This is 3%. So this drop is still in, like, it's in the realm of normalcy for a pullback on the market. And a lot of times people freak out, like these areas on the market, these big red candles, these 2 days, these 2 days, these 2 days here, this big day here on the market, all this right here on the market, these are just, this is when you feel this panic come into the market and people start saying, oh my God, it's over, bull run's over, you know, everything's going on. And then what happens? It bounces and everyone forgets about it when the Dow hits new highs, right? I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but just when these pullbacks happen, keep that mind clear. Make sure that you are, you know, realizing, okay, we still have support to the downside. This could be potentially just another dip buy opportunity in the market. And if you look at historics, if you look at historicals, you have to sort of, you know, move with that notion that you are potentially going to bounce here. So you have every single time we've bounced off the 50-day in the past here on the SPY, we have found really nice support. Now, I'm not saying that happens again because it doesn't have to, but we are at a very interesting point, and I think this is a very important time to see how we react today at that 50-day. Today will be very important. If we bounce off the 50-day and we flush right back below it on a dead cat bounce, then, you know, that's not great. We don't want to see that, and we'll probably head back down to this 3960. So 50-day on the Dow, 50-day on the SPY. The NASDAQ is a little bit more beaten down. It's on this trend line, and it's also below the 100 days. So that's why I think we are seeing a larger bounce in tech today, because it has been a little bit more oversold. So with that said, we're up 74 points on the NASDAQ. Let's go ahead and get into a few of these stocks that I'm going to be watching. And if you guys want to see anything, make sure to type it into the chat. Should you hold your QQQ puts? When people ask me, there's a lot of variables about holding calls and puts. So it's expiration date, it's strike price, it's, you know, how much risk management is in there. Did you put 100% of your portfolio into it? Can you manage a loss? So sort of a lot of different things that go on. And if you want to, if you want to ask those questions, I'm in the Discord chat all day answering those same types of questions. So feel free. But yeah, there's expiration date. There's how much money you have in it, risk management. So a lot of questions to be asked about if you should hold a position or not. So first here, let's go ahead and get into the Facebook daily chart. And we actually have it looks like the NASDAQ's moving up higher now. It's actually up about 84 points. So here's Facebook daily chart. I'm not sure if we went over this yesterday. I think we might have, but we have this huge demand zone here on Facebook. Previous resistance there. I think it will turn into support. And we had almost $12 million in call options come through yesterday. So I think someone else also thinks that this is going to be coming into support. So Facebook, one to watch here. Very nice technical bounce. These stocks that we're going to look at are on the daily chart. Personally, I really believe in looking at daily, weekly charts, 4-hour charts, and looking for some strong, longer-term support and resistance areas, because I believe that that's a much better way to trade, finding really strong support areas, taking advantage of that with some longer-term calls, maybe some like 6 months, maybe even a year out. You can also take like 3 or 4 month out calls. I like to trade that way. It's a much lower maintenance type trading strategy, and it really does work. You can see at times in the market, these things bounce off these previous resistance and support areas. So right here, back on the 22nd of April, we came back into this demand zone, and if you took call options here on the 22nd of April, you made quite a bit of money. So I'm looking to do something very similar here on Facebook. Can we find support here at this demand zone, start to chop around, and then move back higher? That's what I'm looking here on Facebook. So I'll look at Disney and Baba in a second. We have Coinbase. I'll look at that also at the end. All right, so that's Facebook bouncing off this demand zone, and I'm looking to see if we can get a nice strong bounce. The Dow just turned green, so the Dow is now up 4 points today on the futures. So that's pretty cool to see. So we have all futures contracts that are green right now. Very nice. All right, so here is Disney. I know some of you wanted to look at Disney. They have earnings coming out is it after hours today? Yes. So after hours today, we have Disney earnings. So that's definitely something to watch. It did break down below this ascending triangle. So we talked about yesterday, you can either get this move or you can get this move, right? So it's just coming into a point that the price action is getting very tight, and there's going to be a breakout to either direction. So right now, with the weak market that we've seen, we are moving down here on Disney. We are still in a very nice little demand area here. We have some choppiness going on. We're not really free falling just yet. And really what's going to happen, this whole area here is a lot of demand, right? So you have a lot of previous resistance coming up on the charts that should find some buyers in this area. Right now, the stock is up. It's basically flat here on the pre-market, so not much movement on Disney. But earnings is going to be everything here for Disney. That is the most important. Hopefully, you guys still see the live stream? My thing's saying, okay. The YouTube thing just said no connection. I don't know why. So Disney earnings is going to be crucial. That's really what's going to move the stock to either the upside or the downside. Me personally, is everyone? You guys see the stream fine? YouTube's freaking out a little bit. Just let me know if you guys can see the stream just fine. Hopefully you do. Let me see. Here's what YouTube says. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Well, hopefully everyone sees this. Getting a little bit of a problem here on the YouTube thing. All right, cool. Looks like YouTube's just all right, cool. So thanks guys. Cutting out a bit. All right, we'll see. But Disney earnings crucial obviously today. I wouldn't personally play it. That's not how I don't like playing Disney I don't like playing earnings in general because it's very difficult to know what's going to happen. But we'll go to all products and I'll show you the expected move here for Disney. So right now, the expected move on Disney is $7.2. So that is going to be, it's a little bit, 10% 17, 5% is right around 8. So for $7 move, maybe 4 to 5% is what's expected here on Disney. So 4 to 5% is the expectation on Disney. That means if you bought call options, the stock has to move up $7.50 from the closing price today for those calls to appreciate. So if Disney moves up $2 after earnings, your call options will lose money. So that's the expected move of a stock coming into earnings, and that's something you need to know coming into earnings. So Disney, really nice here, finding support, but I think the earnings is crucial, and I personally am just waiting for the earnings to come out, and I'll play the continuation move. If Disney does something crazy, like breaks out of this wedge here and starts to move higher, then I'll play that continuation to the upside. If Disney breaks down and you see some more potential downside, I'll play that continuation. I personally don't feel like I have to be the hero that catches Disney before earnings and I'm 100% right on it. That's not really my style. And if you continue to play earnings, you will lose money over time. So let earnings come out on Disney. I think they're going to be great. I don't see how they could not be. We have Disney Plus, which is killing it. We have the parks that are reopening. It may be great earnings. That doesn't mean the stock goes up. We know that from the past month of seeing these incredible tech earnings come out and the stocks have moved down. So I think it's 100% that Disney will beat on the top and bottom line, EPS and revenue. I think that's pretty much, I think everyone knows that. But does the stock move up on it? That's the question that will have to be answered after the earnings come out. So that's my take on Disney. We have BABA that came out. I don't know much about the report. I did not read it. So maybe I can pull that up on CNBC. But we can see a big gap down here so far in the morning. We did break below that demand zone there. So let me see. If I go to live news, we can see Alibaba post quarterly loss as fine in China hits bottom line. Okay, so their fine hit their bottom line. Alibaba logs higher quality sales but posts a loss on antitrust. So, okay. So their loss is just due to that fine. So EPS 1.58 misses the estimate. And then, okay. So I do find it a little bit interesting that they lost money just because of a fine. That seems to me that my first thought process on that is that is a short-term negative reaction that could potentially sort of wither away over time. Once that fine is just sort of, goes away into the news, the media just goes away. So I think maybe that this short-term negative reaction is just a little bit overextended due to a fine. Maybe you get some more downside, so I won't be so quick to just play that, right? But that is something to be that's pretty interesting. We go to the weekly back on BABA. I think we went over this yesterday, I believe. But we have this uptrend here. We're sitting right at that 100-day moving average, and we'll have to see if we can bounce off of it. The chart's sort of messy here. I mean, you're just really all you have is this uptrend that maybe it wants to come back down to. So maybe you want to try to test this uptrend around 205. That would be probably where I would feel the most comfortable of getting into something on BABA, is if we retested this uptrend. I think you'd get a lot of value there at that uptrend. Let's see what it does on earnings. I'm not really going to follow BABA much today. But Penn, so this was one that I love Penn, and I really, really hate to see it being beat down as much as it is, just because I do have a good amount of shares of Penn, and I really believe in the company long term. I like sports betting. Long term, I think it is something that will eventually be it will be legal everywhere. So I think Penn and DraftKings are in the driver's seat to take advantage of that legalization. So let's see what happens. But right now, Penn has pulled back almost, what is this? A big percentage here. 46% pullback on Penn. So huge pullback on Penn. And if you liked Penn up here in the hundreds, then you should like Penn down here in the $75 area. So you have this really strong support area right here, previous resistance turning into support right around here at 75. and you've pulled right back down into it. So I don't like taking things just yet because this is showing no type of bullish confirmation. There's no consolidation that goes on, nothing like this that consolidates and then maybe a big move higher, something like that, right? So a U pattern that starts to form here on the daily chart. Maybe you get the cup and handle, something like that, right? So that's sort of what I'm looking for on Penn before I get into it. I want to see this cup, maybe a handle, or maybe just a nice inverse head and shoulders here. Something that proves to me that this $75 area is going to hold as support. That's what I'm looking for on Penn. And if we get that, I think you can definitely take advantage of a really nice move. So inverse head and shoulders would be something like this, right? So you get this, maybe you go back down, back up, like this, it's like a little M pattern, a little W pattern. So something that just proves to us that there are some buyers down here at 75. So that's another one to watch. Penn National, they came out with earnings. They got beat up off earnings again. It looks like they did beat, or they missed on EPS. Yeah, I think they missed on EPS. No, they beat on EPS. They beat by about 25 cents on EPS. So let's see. Penn National, another one. I'm going to go over Coin because I think some of you wanted to see that. Coin is actually quite interesting, and it's a stock that I have been watching myself. So let me see what time frame we can look at this best at. Maybe go to the 1 hour, 20-day 1 hour. This is not bad. Let me pull off the extended hours so this looks a little bit more clean. And let me get these lines that I'm looking at. So here's the 1 hour on on Coin. So Coin was in a big downtrend, right? So we had this big downtrend that was forming on Coin, and before all this noise right here, this was just a consistent downtrend that every time it hit some heavy resistance. This entire downtrend, if you guys track Kathy Wood's purchases in her ARK ETF, she continued to buy Coin every single day. So she was she seems very, very confident in Coinbase over time. And I believe, I'm sort of with her. Coinbase it makes a ton of money with fees on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. I think they're going to definitely surprise some people on their earnings, which come out, they come out today. Oh, that should be fun. Okay, so I'm not going to play this, but this is very fun. This will be very fun to watch. And if they have really good earnings, Coinbase is definitely going to run here. And there's going to be some monster continuation moves, I believe, on Coinbase. Either to the upside or downside, there should be a lot of volatility. Let's see, what's the expected move on Coin? What do you guys think about Coin? Coin $17.50 expected move. So 10% is 28, 5% is 14. So you're a little bit over 6. You're just about 6% on expected move on Coinbase. These bigger, more volatile stocks will always have higher expected moves because the market makers, they know that there's a higher possibility of it moving within a larger range. And of course, market makers have to protect themselves, and they need to put a big expected range on the stock because they have to make sure that their option contracts don't appreciate so that people like us lose money, right? So that's sort of how the game works. But here is Coinbase. You can see we're pulling back. We've been pulling back for some time now. We finally broke out of this downtrend. So very interesting to see. So right here, we broke out of the downtrend, and then we did a perfect break and retest. I'm actually going to take off these moving averages. I like swing trading a little bit more. Right now, swing trading has been a little bit tough for the market. It's because the market's been so volatile. So it hasn't been a great time for my trading style. But I think the further we pull back, the more my trading style will shine in the long term, because the more we pull back, that gives me more opportunities on tech stocks that are pulling back to really strong support areas. And I love to see pullbacks on tech that I can find support areas, find strong daily support areas, and take some 2-month, 3-month out contracts and really capitalize on some big bounces. I personally like doing that a lot. Thanks. Appreciate you guys. If you're enjoying the live stream, make sure to press that like button. before you head out. If you guys do head out, make sure to press that like button for me. That really helps the channel. I'm hoping to continue to grow this. So downtrend, Coinbase. We broke out of that downtrend, and what did we do? A perfect break and retest. That is not a coincidence. That's just technical analysis. We did a break, we did a retest. If you caught Coinbase on the retest right here, you had a nice move up, and now we're sort of retesting that line right now. So this does look like it could form something like a head and shoulders, right? That sort of looks like it, but I think, I don't know, that's just sort of a technical pattern that I'm starting to see there. But with earnings, it's going to be up to the earnings to see what happens. If we go to the 4 hour, we can see that this is the first little blip of any type of positivity here on the chart, right? So for the last few weeks, it's just been straight down since IPO. We do have this very important level here, which is where we found resistance. So you can see we have resistance right here. We did make it as support. So this area right around 310 to 300, this whole area from 300 to 310 is going to be rough. That's going to be rough in that area for sure. But earnings can definitely be the thing we need to get through it. So we do have a break of that downtrend. We're moving higher. 300 to 310 is all the area that you need to see if it can break above. This area right here is a big consolidation zone that we have been trading in over these last few days. If we break above that, then really all we have is this previous high right here at 316. So you can see we have these previous highs right here. Previous lows. Right, so that may be some resistance, and then you have this high here at 344, and then from there, I mean, I don't even think you can consider these areas as resistance or support. So you can obviously see this range right here between 300 and 320 should be pretty tough, but once we get past that, say we get a move past these resistance levels and start to bounce, this area should be pretty easy. I don't see much resistance all in this area. So we just need to see if we can get past this 300 to 320 area. I think that's crucial. So let's see what happens there on Coinbase. 1 minute chart shows a nice little bounce here in the morning. You can see, nice little bounce in the pre-market. An options play on coin. I wouldn't play options into earnings. I'm not going to recommend anyone does that, because if you could be totally right with the direction, you could buy a call option and be bullish. And if it doesn't move $17.50, you will lose money on your call option, and you'll not be happy about that. So I'm not recommending anyone to play coin for earnings. I think what you want to do is you want to wait. If it does break out on some really solid earnings, if you get 8:30, yeah. Let me double check on the market and see if those numbers came out. I did. Yeah, that's a good point. I lost track of time there. But Coinbase, let's see what the earnings do. And see what happens. So CNBC, yeah, so here we go. So I'll leave you with this, guys. So producer price rose 0.6% April, hotter than expected. So U.S. producer prices increased more than expected in April in another hotter than expected inflation report. So it rose 0.6. So prices rose 0.6. The gauge spiked 6.2 for the last months. Looks like they were expecting 0.3%, and we basically doubled the expected move there. So yeah, looks like we doubled the expected producer price index. Yeah, I mean you could play an iron condor. Yeah, so I can sort of, let's just hypothetically say that let's say a coin closes at 300 today. You could sell you can set up an iron condor with like a 320 leg and a 280 leg, something like that. You could do that. Iron condor, if the stock closes around 300, which is right around here, you could sell that iron. You can play that iron condor to see, does it move within this expected move here from 320 to 280. Could do that. Many sell spreads into earnings to allow IV Crush to work. Yeah, you could sell a credit spread. You can sell like a 280 credit spread or something like that. You can, as long as it stays above a certain amount, or even you can sell it the opposite way. So even if it stays below a certain amount, so you can sell credit spreads into earnings. You can play debit spreads. I play at the money debit spreads sometimes. So like let's say coin closes at 280, I can play a 280 debit spread. as long as the stock goes up, I'll make money, and I don't have to worry about implied volatility crush. So debit spreads into earnings. Don't go too far out of the money. The further you go out of the money, the higher the risk to reward will be, but much lower chance of you becoming profitable, right? So you can buy a at the money debit spread for about a 1-to-1 risk to reward and pretty much make money on it as long as the stock goes up. How do you know the expected move? It's on Thinkorswim. It's their proprietary calculation on Thinkorswim. That is something that they have set up for you on this trading platform. So right here on all products, this yellow little area right here is the expected move. So coin debit spreads, coin credit spreads, great plays. Those are the two that I would be okay with playing into earnings. But excuse me, buying calls and buying puts, not so much my style. But anything else you guys want to look at before I head out? Feel free to let me know in the chat. I'll stay around for a few more minutes to see if you guys want to see anything. But let's look at the Dow real quick. So Dow is bouncing pretty nicely here. So nice little bounce there on the Dow. I'm actually going to put the extended hours here. So here is the extended hours. You can see we are still sort of at that yesterday close though. So here's yesterday's close. We are above it right now, so that's good to see. Yeah, you can. Just the premiums on Coca-Cola and Bank of America are so low that if you can, it sounds bad, but like you'd be collecting maybe like a few dollars a week. Maybe like $5, $10, depending on how much you're selling of the calls. But the premiums are so low that it's very difficult to make any money just selling calls like as covered calls, right? So here's Coca-Cola. I already looked at Disney. Here's Coca-Cola. If you sold a $55 call, you'd make $32. So, I mean, you can. I don't know if that's the best strategy, but there's better stocks to sell covered calls on that have higher premiums. But this is probably it's a high probability type trade, just very small, and maybe $17, $30, and that would be for June. So that would be a month. So maybe $30 in a month. It's not the best strategy, I don't think, personally. Before I go, I'm going to do Peloton and Tesla real quick, and then that's going to be it. So that's a nice little pre-market we got going on here on Tesla for sure. So let me go to the daily chart. Let me pop up those moving averages again. So right here. So we're well below the moving averages. I actually want to pull up the 200 real quick. How's that 200 looking? Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting here on Tesla. Look at Tesla here. So 200 moving average. When a stock hits a 200 moving average, you better believe that there should be a bounce. I mean, that's like deep value area. 200 moving average is like deep value on a stock, and we are coming down into that 200 moving average here on Tesla pretty quickly here. So we have previous support around here, around this area on Tesla, and we have the 200-day moving average. Pretty strong support area. I believe it should see a pretty strong support area. Right now, you can see, so you see where this circle is on the 1 minute chart? That's the same circle I just drew on the daily chart, right? So see that daily chart circle? Now, if we go to the 1 minute, we are right in that circle. So perfect bounce there off that support. So nice bounce here pre-market. I think what you need to look for is a break of some of these previous levels here. If you're trying to trade Tesla, you always want to look at these previous levels on the hourly chart or on the 30 minutes. So you have this level here in the pre-market yesterday, which also was pretty strong resistance during the day. Then you have this level here, which was resistance in the pre-market yesterday and was sort of the high of day here on Tesla. and then you want to look at this high right around 627, 625. So those are some levels that we need to break through in order for Tesla to get very bullish. We have a lot of resistance that formed over the last 2 days, right? So if you get that breakout, what you can see is that this day was just, just straight down. It wasn't much consolidation or resistance. So I think you actually have some room here. If you can break these resistance levels from yesterday and Tuesday, you do have some room in this area back up to around that 650 area. So pretty interesting. I like that. Let's keep an eye on Tesla. Last one's going to be Peloton. After that, I have to get to my Discord chat. So if anyone's in here that's not in the chat, after this, I go into the chat and I send over some charts that I'm watching, go live there as well. So if you want to join, that's going to be the first link in the description below. Feel free to check that out. We both square Tesla and yesterday. Okay, interesting. So Peloton, real quick, because someone asked. Peloton was something we watched yesterday. I actually took a small trade on that yesterday. I lost like $4. It was a quick trade. Some people in the Discord chat was a little bit more patient than me and made some money. So nice bounce off 80. Love to see that. And I think the next move on Peloton is up to 100. I still believe that. I still think we'll see a move up to this 100 before we find some resistance. Yeah, I know, right? No, that's SPY. So hold on one second. So yeah, Peloton move up to that $100 resistance. You can see a lot of previous support there that will turn into resistance. So I still believe if tech stays hot, you will see Peloton at 100 over the next few weeks. I'm going to stand by that analysis. So that's going to be it for the charts. SPY put, that was my best trade ever. That was during the virus, during the panic that was going on. And right now, it's not really the same. This is not panic. So it was basically free money. SPY puts were free money back in March of 2020, which is crazy. It was very easy to make those SPY puts because the market just continued to go down. There was absolutely, if we were looking at these charts right now, everyone would say, wow, it's going down again. It was so easy to see. That was a good time in the market when there's just a single direction that we could trade off of, that we knew it was going to happen. That was just easy money at that time, but those times are gone, it seems. But that's going to be it, guys. It's 8:45. I may have to think about extending this longer, maybe to 9 o'clock, because I still am enjoying it, and I feel like there's some more stuff to look at, and I don't want to feel rushed here. So maybe we'll have to do like 8 to 9, or maybe 7:30 to 8:30. We'll see. 30 minutes may not be long enough. Let me know what you think in the chat if I should maybe extend this a little bit longer. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. We looked at some stocks. We looked at the futures. Futures look good right now. The NASDAQ is up 100 points right now. So we're getting a nice bounce here on the NASDAQ. So watch your tech stocks. But before I leave you, make sure to remember this could easily be a dead cat bounce. And I don't want to kill anyone's vibe. I don't want to kill your vibe if you're a bull here. But just make sure to watch out for a potential dead cat bounce today. So, okay. All right, guys. So I hope you have a great trading day. Good rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in. Press that like button before you head out. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more live streams, more videos on my channel. I would really appreciate that, and it would help me really grow this channel. So thank you again for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.